Welcome to Austin's American Flyer YouTube page, and today we're talking about terminals. It's definitely a terminal situation. And I decided to do a video on the 792 American Flyer terminal. And the reason I wanted to do this is because, well, I've never seen one done. And I had the privilege of picking one up. But before I go there, let's talk a little bit about train sheds. Train sheds have been around since basically the beginning of the locomotive railway phenomena, and early on they became seen as a good place to load passengers because they were dry. And as you've seen in these pictures, they came in all sorts of shapes and sizes, some of them very big, some of them very small, some of them non-existent at all. And yes, I am a poet that doesn't know it. And train sheds also became a gathering place because if you had a large city such as Chicago or New York and they had a Union Station, the train sheds ended up being significantly sized structures with sometimes hundreds of trains arriving and departing a day. So they were quite a gathering location. But back to our American Flyer 792 train shed or terminal. You can see here the gentleman I purchased this from was kind enough to take it all apart for me so that my shipping costs were reduced. However, this became what is known as a very fiddly job because those small nuts and bolts were exceedingly difficult to get together. And just to help preserve your sanity, since mine's already gone, I sped this up 1,000 times. I also chopped out a bunch of it because I just had to work and work and work on these silly little bolts and nuts. They were so hard to get to. So if you get one of these, just be prepared to put your patience on, and then after you've put your patience on, you might want to take a double dose because it is, as I said, very fiddly. One other thing that I can save you should you decide to get one of these terminals is the aluminum bars at the bottom actually do have an up and a down. And well, I had to discover that the hard way. So after putting everything together and putting the track down, which you'll see a little later, all of a sudden my wonderful 322 Northern decided not to run. It ran for a little bit and then stopped. And then the transformer kind of started freaking out. I'm like, what is going on? And here the aluminum was arcing between one transformer and another, and it didn't let anything work. So just keep that in mind. If you get one of these and you go to put it together, you want those aluminum straps at the bottom to actually be, I guess I call them like a fish belly. So they're lower than the rails versus upside down from that, more of a banana shape, where they will come into contact with the bottom of the rails. So the train station that you see, you could buy it with this terminal, and I don't know if this particular station came with a terminal originally or not, but it's something that I always wanted. I always wanted a terminal, and I've never had many accessories with my Flyer stuff, and so one of my goals has been over the last 10 years or so is to try and have some accessories. And so slowly but surely I keep adding to the accessories, and I always thought one of these terminals looked so great, and I just, as well as these steam engines smoke, I thought, oh, wouldn't that be neat to have this terminal shed, the trains go under, there's smoke rolling out from underneath. I don't know, in my little mind that seemed like a really cool thing. So this terminal shed, like most of them, comes with these ramps, and the train or the dimensions inside of the terminal are made that you should be able to have 3 sets of track going through, and then you also have these ramps, or I should say they're a ramp at one end that you can put between the rails in kind of whatever configuration makes sense. What I discovered in my particular application is because I have some curves pretty much on either side of the train shed or terminal. I ran into issues with having enough clearance. Again, you'll see that a little later. But what I ended up doing when it was all said and done is I actually pulled those ramps out because, well, I couldn't come up with a good way to keep the ramps in the train shed and still have 3 tracks going through. And you can see here, so my 322 Northern kind of runs into stuff, and then I have the royal blue in the next rail over, and you can see it gets caught on one of those ramps and tips over, and it's just more fun than you should be able to have with a terminal. But it was causing me terminal pains is what it was. So here's where I realize I'm shorting because my Northern suddenly is not working. So what I wanted to save you all from is I actually had to take the terminal all back apart again, reverse the aluminum strips at the bottom, and put it back together. So yep, that's about 3 hours of my life I'll never get back. What I did decide to do though, and this may change, is just put a short spur into the terminal, and my plan will be probably to have some passenger cars there. I do have a Guilford station that I want to get repaired, and so this spur may be where that single car deposits its passengers or picks them up, whichever the case may be. But as Flyer tends to do, you have some really nice detail on the steel work across the top of the awning there. It's a very simple structure, but just really cool. I just think it's so neat, and I've seen some people that have multiple ones of these so that you can get an entire passenger train underneath, so that's really cool. But this is a 792 in operation, and I don't yet know if it's going to stay here or not. One of the fun things that I enjoy about Flyer is you can change your mind, and I use screws to hold the track down, so it's very easy to pull screws up and change track designs. And so today this is what it looks like, but I don't know if it'll stay that way because a better idea may come along. As always, thanks for tuning in. If you have any questions or comments, please leave those below, and if you have a chance to grab a 792 terminal for your Flyer, I'd encourage it. They're really cool and a nice accessory to have. Enjoy your American Flyer.